Shelmerdine pursued his racing career, and he ended up owning his own team, fielded his own cars. Tyler or David, one of my favorite Kirk Shelmerdine memories, if not the favorite, would be 2006 when he announced, okay, we're going to try to make the Daytona 500. He'd never made the 500, had attempted multiple times. If he missed the 500, they were going to shut the team down. Well, they qualify, and he tries to race his way into the duels, and he's out. He's not in the 500, and they're loading up the car, and the team's going to shut down. And NASCAR officials run over to his hauler, tell, hey, no, unload your car. You're in the Daytona 500. You made it in. Richard Childress had helped him with an engine for the Daytona 500. And after he made the Daytona 500, I can't remember who pitted the car, but he had a really stellar pit crew. And he had a group of Dale Earnhardt fans who purchased the entire tire bill for him to run the entire race. He ended up finishing, I think, 19th or 20th on the lead lap that day in the 2006 Daytona 500. And I think that just showed the will of Kirk Shelmerdine and his hustle and determination. He had that as a crew chief, and he certainly had that as a driver. Now, his driving career started a lot later, and we didn't get to really see that driving career pan out at the national level. But I think that has to be the best Kirk Shelmerdine story ever, making the Daytona 500 as a small shoestring team, owner, driver, and then the plethora of Dale Earnhardt fans coming to help.
Yeah, that's
man. What a cool story, man. I didn't want you to stop. I forgot about all that, man. That was pretty cool. Now that you were speaking about it, I remember it. And man, what a great story for Kirk Shelmerdine to have his own team, make the Daytona 500. I mean, that was a big deal, and it's a big deal every year for a lot of the teams that are struggling and making the Daytona 500 or not making a Daytona 500. It's a matter of keeping the doors open or not. You know what I mean? That's how big of a race it is. And now you mentioned hearing you speak about that, Dom, I remember it now. That was a Cinderella story back then. That was pretty cool stuff.
Big time. And I think too,
one more thing before we move on to Herschel McGriff, just put in perspective of, Earnhardt and Shelmerdine of their time were the equivalent of Jeff Gordon, Ray Evernham, Jimmy Johnson, Chad Canals. I mean, in case people don't know, like that was the impact that Shelmerdine and Earnhardt had together.
Big time. Like you said, 46 wins or 44 wins, 4 championships. It's a really good duo, and it's really sad to see that the duo ended after a sour 92 year, and Earnhardt went on to win 2 more titles the years after that. That very well easily could have been Kirk Shelmerdine atop the pit box calling that.
Yeah, very well could have.